In this CineGuru tutorial, we'll look at how to create simple camera moves. So let's first off start by dragging in a camera entity, camera marker, and I'll just pop that down in the scene, and I'm going to raise it up slightly so it can look at this barrel. Now what I want to do is create a simple A to B camera move. So I want the camera to start here, and I want it to sort of dolly across and end about here. So to do that, I'm going to go to add a new entity, and again in my CineGuru folder I'm going to select a camera endpoint. Okay, so a little trick here is to, if you place this marker kind of next to the camera, because CineGuru is trying to find the floor, it will automatically raise the height of the camera endpoint to about the same height as your camera marker. And then you can move it about as you want. So let's just rotate that round and we'll move it down here somewhere. Let's take a little bit of a top-down view of this. Okay, so that's fine. So we want to create a move where this camera moves to this point. So again, let's name our camera and set that up accordingly. So first off, camera name, we'll call this camera 1, and the film time, let's say it takes 6 seconds to go from its initial position to its end position. I won't bother adding a fade this time, I'll just leave that as 0. The FOV can also stay as 90 throughout the whole shot, so that's 90-90. And there isn't a next camera, so I will delete that. Okay, now at the end point, if I go to properties, the parameters here are slightly different. So the first thing you need to do is add the name of the camera, and it's very important you leave this little bit at the end, underscore endpoint. This is what tells CineGuru, oh, this is an endpoint, this is where the camera should end up. So we called our camera camera 1, so I'm just going to add in camera 1. So the full name of this entity is camera 1 underscore endpoint. There's a fade time here as well, but unlike with a static camera marker, it's not a fade at the beginning of the shot, it's a fade at the end. So what we could do is add in a 1 second fade to black at the end of the shot. And then we also have the option to add a next camera, but in this case we'll just do it with the one camera, so we'll remove that and click apply. And again we need to add in our cine-trigger zone just to set this all off, and we'll name that accordingly. So we are triggering a camera, and the name of the camera we're triggering is camera 1. And again, I'll drop in a little bit of sand just so we can see where it is on the map. And we'll drop in a player start marker. So let's take a look at what we've got so far. Okay. So our camera moves across, and then there's a little fade to black at the end. And you can see it also fades up from black after the cinematic. That's inbuilt. And it's the same length of fade as well. So if you were to change this to a really quick fade, like a 100 millisecond fade, the fade up afterwards, when you finish the cinematic, will also be very quick. So we'll just demo that quickly. It's also worth noting that just like camera markers, endpoints will also, they'll take rotation information as well. So if you wanted to, you could make this a sort of a rising camera move and use rotation to just point the endpoint down at the barrel. And what will happen now is the camera will gradually rise and it will go into a sort of a top-down, well not quite top-down, but like a high-angle shot. And just to prove a point, I will roll the camera over slightly as well. Don't know why you'd want to do this, but kind of gives an interesting look. And you can see immediately the camera starts to roll over. Now there are other ways that you can make cameras look at targets like this, but we'll cover those in a subsequent tutorial.